I kept quiet for a long time, but this story still weighs heavily on me. 8 weeks have passed since our daughter's arrival, yet the shadow of that argument still looms large, stretching across our lives. We both cling fiercely to our resentment, convinced of our own righteousness, refusing to yield. My husband remains unaware of my confidences here, so I tread carefully, seeking anonymity to share my pain. The moment I conceived our daughter, he began his campaign, relentlessly pushing for a home birth. His unwavering conviction baffled me, a fixation I couldn't comprehend. Why was he so adamantly set on this particular path? Initially, I dismissed his insistence, promising to consider it, mostly to quiet him. 6 weeks pregnant, the birthing day felt impossibly distant, a problem for my future self. But time, as it always does, rushed forward with alarming speed, bringing the reality of labor ever closer. And then, at every single doctor's appointment, when the question of a birth plan arose, he would brazenly interject, speaking over me, silencing my voice before I could utter a word. This blatant disrespect ignited a series of heated arguments, a constant battle that raged throughout those agonizing 39 weeks of pregnancy. The tension was a suffocating blanket, smothering any joy I might have felt. He systematically undermined my autonomy, making me feel like an irrelevant bystander in my own pregnancy, a vessel for his chosen birthing experience. The emotional toll was immense. The pressure had been building for weeks, an unseen weight pressing down. I stood firm, I never changed my mind. My heart was set on a hospital birth, a simple enough decision, but it wasn't. Then came my husband's mother, her voice laced with persuasive intent. She sat me down, detailing every reason why they vehemently opposed a hospital birth. I voiced my fears, worries about our baby's safety, my own well-being. But like my husband before her, my concerns were dismissed, swept away as if they were nothing but trivial anxieties. The line was drawn. I told my husband, unequivocally, that I would take myself to the hospital when the time came. A home birth was simply not an option for me. He simply pretended not to hear, his silence a chilling defiance, an unspoken order. Next, we met the doula. She was another layer of suffocating pressure, equally insistent on their plan. Her presence only intensified my feeling of being utterly overwhelmed, completely unsupported in a time I needed comfort and understanding most. I was 36 weeks then, vulnerable and exhausted. When labor finally began at 39 weeks, it wasn't joy I felt, but sheer terror. The pain was immediate, overwhelming. I pleaded with my husband, my voice raw with desperate, guttural pleas, to take me to the hospital, to my doctor. This was my deepest fear unfolding. He refused. A cold, dismissive tone filled his voice as he spoke down to me, then turned and called the doula, sealing my fate within our home. The labor was an agonizing blur of 3 days, with the last 22 hours an unbearable, active torment. Tears streamed down my face ceaselessly. I knew, deep in my gut, that something was terribly wrong. Fear consumed me, a dark, chilling certainty. They frequently abandoned me, leaving me isolated in my pain, alone with my terror. The doula told me that it was all normal, just part of the process, that my cries were merely emotional. But it wasn't normal. It was a nightmare, orchestrated by those who claimed to love me. I survived, but a part of me died that day, and the scars of that betrayal run deeper than any physical wound. My trust, irrevocably shattered, could never be rebuilt. Now I am free, but I will never forget. I kept quiet, but this story makes me shiver. Her birth was no joyous miracle, but a grueling nightmare, a trauma that relentlessly haunts me. When active pushing and labor stretched beyond 24 agonizing hours, I was rushed into the hospital. I desperately wondered, was 2 more hours of pain worse, or delivering her right then? No maternal instinct to hold her, just profound, tearful relief had washed over me. It was horrific, unlike any beautiful story I'd ever heard. My doctor, post-birth, expressed deep shock and concern for my physical and mental state, fueling my bitter anger. I confronted my husband, accusing him of utterly ruining the entire event. I swore I'd never endure such an ordeal again. Mothers speak of forgetting the pain instantly, but I haven't. I adore my daughter fiercely, yet the memory festers, a raw wound. It was entirely his fault. I told him repeatedly, my voice laced with frustration. He just rolls his eyes, scoffing that mothers are strong and I wasn't trying hard enough. I've made it clear, if he wants another child, a desire he often voices, I will never do it, not with him, not ever. I swore, unequivocally, never again a home birth. My husband's response, we'll see. How could he? Am I unreasonable? Everyone around me acts as if my ordeal was normal, but it simply wasn't. A chilling question consumes me. How did this unfold? Why didn't I call a doctor or an ambulance during 3 agonizing days of labor? Was I truly locked away, my phone stolen? No, not asterisk that extreme, I admit. Aside from the brutal 22 hours of active labor, I knew I'd be sent home anyway. I called my doctor right when contractions started. My husband, standing near, snatched my phone, a triumphant "I told you so." She advised coming only when contractions were every 5 minutes. His control was palpable. Those first 2 days, though relentless, were bearable. But the final 22 hours plunged me into profound misery. They were the absolute worst. My doctor later confessed her surprise I had delivered the baby at all. She recalled my initial call, describing symptoms that suggested false labor, suggesting I simply walk around to see if the contractions would subside. They never did. And still, he dares to utter, "We'll see." This chilling disregard for my enduring trauma leaves me icy. I will never forget my instructions were clear. Come in when contractions were 5 minutes apart. They did not subside, but remained erratic for nearly 2 days, never reaching that crucial 5-minute rhythm. Because I didn't call or arrive, the assumption was false labor. Her utter shock, then, at seeing me with the baby was palpable. I am not stupid, despite what people imply. I have explained my reasons for not calling, though I now grasp I should have. My silence wasn't ignorance, but a desperate adherence to flawed guidance. Then came the inevitable questions. Why did they truly want a home birth? Did any of their reasons ever make sense? They pressed, their voices laced with disbelief. I told them. They just kept insisting it was more natural and better for bonding. It always surprised me, given our usual dynamic. But my mother-in-law had her own agenda, listing safety arguments. Hospitals, she claimed, force women into C-sections and needless epidurals. The horror resonated. One commenter, having experienced both hospital and home births, perfectly articulated the dread. Jesus Christ. As someone who had a hospital birth for my first and a home birth for my second, this sounds absolutely horrifying. Never wow me heart clenches thinking about certain choices in life, especially those as monumental as childbirth. I feel a profound need to share my convictions, hoping to spare others from grave errors. I simply could not, in good conscience, recommend a home birth for a first-time mother. How could I? You simply do not know your body, not truly, until it has navigated the unpredictable currents of labor. The unknown is too vast. The risks are too immense. I only considered a home birth for my second child because my first experience had gone so incredibly smoothly, almost miraculously. It was never a gamble. But here's what truly haunts me. I strongly believe, though I am no expert, that your emotional state profoundly impacts your labor. Stress, like a dark cloud, invites complications. To dismiss this connection is utterly reckless. What happened next, however, is unforgivable. Your partner, actively aided by your doula, placed both you and your innocent baby in massive, unacceptable jeopardy. The physical risks, potentially life-threatening, are horrifying. Yet the deeper betrayal is the blatant dismissal of your core desires, your fundamental human rights, your very safety. This isn't partnership, it's outright control. It screams that he is not the partner you deserve, not anymore. What else will he control? What other risks will he force upon you? The thought alone sends shivers down my spine. I desperately hope you have a strong, loving family network you can rely on now, my dear. Because this man and his family have shown their true colors. They've crossed an unforgivable line. You deserve peace and unwavering support. I've kept silent about the harrowing details of my pregnancy journey and the profound conflict with my husband, but the memory still chills me. The idea of a home birth, specifically for a first-time mother, repeatedly appeared as something ill-advised in my research. a concern that weighed heavily on my mind. Yet, my husband was relentlessly insistent. He weaponized my miscarriage from a year and a half ago, using it as twisted justification for a home birth, arguing I already knew what it was like to be pregnant. He simply refused to grasp the crucial distinction. Knowing pregnancy's reality is miles apart from navigating the unpredictable intensity of first-time labor. My emotional state, intrinsically linked to the birthing experience, felt entirely disregarded by him. Looking back, the chilling clarity of an outsider's words resonates. Why remain with a man who so thoroughly ignored your deepest wishes, who stood by, watching your fear, your pain, your tears for hours, all to secure his own agenda? A truly loving partner, they asserted, could never endure such suffering from someone they cherish. It struck a nerve. There were indeed moments, extended periods, where his determination seemed to eclipse my very well-being. I find myself, even now, trying to construct a defense for him, a painful attempt to soften the harsh reality. He was trying to be supportive, I tell myself, particularly towards the end. But the isolation I felt during that crucial time, I confess, it was me who somehow contributed to that suffocating solitude, because unwittingly, I found myself blaming him, a deep resentment for him even being there in the first place. It was undeniably his fault, though I hope you truly grasp the weight of what I mean. The sting of judgment was swift. Are you truly planning another child with this man? They asked. You're the one enduring birth. Your decisions should reign supreme. A bitter truth, I failed to assert myself, allowing them to abandon me to excruciating pain for an agonizing stretch of time. A cold dread now consumes me for our potential future baby. Will he dismiss her cries, convinced nothing is amiss? If sickness strikes, will he simply suggest letting nature take its course? The chilling conclusion was stark. My husband and that doula, they are not good people. Yet, I wrestle with this. He truly isn't this way in almost any other aspect of his life. He showers our current baby with profound love, ensuring she is meticulously cared for and cherished. He would never, ever inflict such a thing upon her. So why, then, did he allow it to happen to me? Why did he let me suffer alone? Then came the validation, a desperately needed solace. You are not overreacting, they affirmed. This, they insisted, is a massive, undeniable red flag. A father's involvement in his child's decisions is, of course, vital. His say must be heard and respected. But there are boundaries, sacred limits that were shattered. This deep betrayal, this profound neglect, left an indelible mark. I kept quiet for too long, but the memory of my child's birth still haunts me. It wasn't the joyous occasion it should have been. Instead, it became a terrifying testament to control. When it came to choosing how I would bring our child into the world, I believed my choices should have mattered profoundly. Requesting me to consider a home birth, even asking me to research it, that might have been acceptable. But forcing such a monumental decision upon me, that was beyond wrong. Childbirth, I knew, is incredibly hard on a woman's body and fraught with so many potential complications. Opting for a home birth isn't inherently bad, but the decision needed to be mine alone, a sacred personal choice. The unnecessary stress he inflicted upon me, all for his perverse need for control, could have led to dire complications for both me and our precious baby. My husband displayed an appalling lack of concern for my safety, for our child's well-being. He utterly disregarded my feelings, my comfort, my fundamental autonomy. This betrayal, this chilling indifference, was not the behavior of a man who truly loved me. I'm still reeling from what happened, trying to process it all, especially with a newborn in my arms. I must now confront a terrifying question. Am I truly safe with this man? Is our child genuinely safe? Can I truly envision a future, co-parenting with someone who handled the most vulnerable moment of my life with such callous disregard? If this is how he manages the profound disagreements surrounding childbirth, what horrors await us in future parenting conflicts? I pray I find the strength and the trusted support I desperately need, who can help me navigate this treacherous path ahead and find my freedom. I've carried these fears in silence for too long, but they now threaten to consume me. At just 21, my world feels impossibly small, dictated by my 30-year-old husband. I've already confided in my doctor about birth control. The mere thought of another baby right now, in this suffocating existence, makes my stomach churn. I grapple with the crushing weight of motherhood, constantly questioning if I'm even a good mom. The self-doubt is relentless. Seeking solace is a distant dream. My family fractured long ago. My sister and I are estranged from our parents, and our own bond is fragile, almost non-existent. Even if support were available, my husband's control is absolute. Taking my daughter anywhere, or even daring to step out alone, invites a furious fuss. Freedom, a simple outing, feels like an unattainable luxury, truly. A stark warning from an online commenter echoed in my mind. Get a lawyer, file for emergency custody. They predicted our next battle would be over vaccines. Yet, here's a curious twist in this tangled web. Our baby has received every newborn check and vaccination recommended by her doctors. In fact, my husband insisted upon it. He's had no issue with that whatsoever. This detail makes his pervasive control in other aspects of my life even more bewildering. The postpartum period has been a blurry haze, a constant struggle against an unseen hand. I've been quiet for too long, but the weight of my life presses down, making every day a struggle. It feels like an illness I can't shake, though I've always followed medical advice. Why this heavy cloud hangs, I don't know. I dream of escape, a desperate longing to flee this reality. Stuck in Georgia, my heart yearns for Florida, my birthplace. If only I had a choice, I'd return in a heartbeat, finding solace there. Many comment on my situation, and I truly appreciate the kindness, even juggling a screeching baby. It's easy to judge my husband, to label him evil, but he isn't. He's far from perfect, yes, deeply flawed, but not a monster. Yet, even if he were, leaving isn't an option. I've said it, I have absolutely nothing. I refuse to condemn my daughter to that destitution, to make her feel the crushing weight of utter powerlessness. My dreams were once within reach. I was in college, so close to earning my associate's degree before my first pregnancy. He made me stop. Just like that, my aspirations were extinguished. For him, it was merely an associate's, a trivial paper. But for me, it was everything. No one in my family had ever achieved a college education, and I was so incredibly proud, ready to break that cycle. Recently, I tried to pick up the pieces, to finish online, but my husband constantly dismisses my deepest fears, an insidious pattern leaving me feeling utterly unheard and alone. His family controls a commercial business, an intricate world entirely foreign to me. I possess no knowledge, no independent resources, a painful truth he relentlessly reminds me, chipping away at my very existence. When I initially shared my story, I envisioned a small, private moment, perhaps 10 people offering solace. Instead, the sudden, overwhelming attention has amplified my terror, exposing my fragile predicament to a wider, unnerving gaze. While he has never been overtly physically violent, his potential for it looms large, a chilling, unspoken threat hinted at in countless subtle ways. I never wanted to be pregnant, not either time, yet I endured. For too long, I clung to the idea that he was inherently good, the best. A part of me, I confess, still grasps at that desperate hope because I see no escape. I am convinced of my utter uselessness in every aspect of life, save for motherhood, a role I dare not fail, for it is my sole perceived purpose. Later, on September 24, 2024, a day after my initial plea, I struggled with whether to update. The deluge of support, however, moved me beyond measure. This message is primarily a profound thank you. I genuinely thought only a handful, perhaps 10, would read it, offer comfort, and then it would all fade. I kept quiet for too long, but finally sharing my intimate burden felt vital. The response, however, far transcended mere comfort. A vast deluge of empathy poured in from countless strangers. My heart truly swells with every kind word. To critics, I give thanks. Your sharp engagement acknowledged my raw plight, a profound connection. This story is brutally real, though I yearn for it to be a nightmare I could wake from. Understandable inquiries poured in, some whisper cult. I deny it, yet faith profoundly shapes this entire ordeal. Ages were asked repeatedly. I am 21, my husband 30. 3 years our marriage has endured. Despite all, I truly believe I am strong, that I will find my way. I fear not my husband discovering this. He cannot even grasp what Reddit is. Yesterday, the urge to leave seized me. I truly had no idea what to do or how to escape, but I did. My spirit yearns for freedom, a deep-seated desire to break free from this suffocating existence. I still do. I know the path ahead will be arduous, so fraught with struggle, but my daughter's well-being, her very future, is all that truly matters to me. I clung to that conviction. But this afternoon, a cruel revelation shattered my fragile hope. I discovered I am pregnant again. A wave of dread washed over me. What am I to do now? The burden of financially supporting one child already felt insurmountable. How can I possibly face the prospect of two? Once more, I find myself utterly trapped, a prisoner of circumstance. I have no idea what tomorrow holds, what steps I will take, or how my husband will react to this news. Yet, through this terrifying uncertainty, I remain profoundly grateful for the outpouring of support from those who saw my initial plea. Please, do not dwell too much on my plight. But a strong voice, echoing the sentiments of many, pierced through my despair, offering a lifeline. Seek out a women's shelter nearby. Take your child, secure a divorce lawyer. That is your most viable path forward. The words resonated, a stark reminder not to endure someone who wields power so cruelly. My safety, my very security, is compromised. If I pursue a divorce, proving the injustices I faced, child support will become my right. I must not allow this new life to bind me further to an unsafe situation. This second child, now a tender heartbeat, cannot be an excuse for more suffering. I must be truly brave. I kept quiet for a long time, but the memory of those days still makes me deeply shiver. It's been over a year since I last spoke of my painful story, a tale many doubted, yet every word was truly true. October 16, 2025 marks nearly 13 months since the event that shattered me. The voices of strangers echoed in my mind, warning I was trapped. This was a common tactic, they said, to make women feel utterly helpless in abusive relationships. The age and power disparity was undeniably abnormal. My internal struggle was immense. Still, they insisted, you are not stuck, you have options. Being poor but safe, a better outcome than letting him and his family control my life to my detriment. How much worse could he get? How would it affect our children? He would have to provide child support if I left, they reminded me, a crucial lifeline. I had options. I was not stuck. The central wound persisted. AITAH for telling my husband he absolutely ruined the birth of our child. That question, a year later, still burns. I recall logging off, the sting of accusations, that I was fabricating my pain, a fake account, due to an external comment. I promised then and promise now it was never fake. My experience was brutally real. I'm still here, carrying that weight, but their words, you are not stuck, now truly guide me. I must find my options, for myself and my children, to finally break free. I am still here, determined to reclaim my life a year later. The memory still makes me shiver. Rediscovering this account, the kind messages on my original post and in chats flooded back. I needed to say thank you. I am free, finally away from my ex-husband. Your support unveiled a darkness in him far beyond what I'd posted. The true extent of his deceit was truly chilling. I now have 2 daughters. The thought of raising them with such a man terrifies me. Without your collective insight, without that desperate plea, I would have remained, unknowingly condemning them. Thank you for saving us. At 22, I shiver contemplating a lifetime trapped by his side. It's a horrifying what if. To any young mom like me, please trust. You have the strength, you can escape. This website, a trivial platform during my desperation, irrevocably changed my life. If you're a woman convinced there's no escape, remember. 1 year can transform everything. Read my old posts, they show my despair, and the profound freedom I now fiercely protect. My earlier story deeply resonated, and I am profoundly grateful for all the support. Your words about a better life for my babies and me, for peace and happiness, truly struck a chord. Thank you again for your kindness. Many of you had pertinent follow-up questions, which I now wish to clarify. I remember my previous post, where I vowed never to have another home birth. One comment asked if I'd had another daughter and escaped that monster for a better birthing experience. Yes, I did. I was already pregnant when I finally left him, but my second daughter was born at a women's hospital. It was an amazing, truly healing experience. Please, don't let my story scare anyone. Babies are wonderful. Another crucial question was about reporting him for deprivation of liberty and the doula for unsafe practices. Yes, I reported both. Justice was a necessary step. Many were glad I escaped the abusive situation, but questioned the swiftness of my second pregnancy. That's awfully fast, someone noted. Indeed, I became pregnant again approximately 8 or 9 weeks postpartum. This wasn't a choice I made freely. It certainly wasn't my decision. I was still grappling with trauma, trying to rebuild my fragmented life and navigate newfound freedom while facing another child's imminent arrival. It added an unexpected and intense layer of complexity to my turbulent recovery, a stark reminder of lingering control I desperately needed to shed, even as I fiercely fought to reclaim my autonomy and build a brighter future for my precious daughters. This journey of healing and hope continues daily, my daughter. My immense love, my endless gratitude, but those early days, not ideal, a real struggle. Then, an unexpected second pregnancy. It truly was a pivotal moment. It forced me to rethink everything, my whole life's direction. She saved me. I am forever thankful.